Hey, Pat. So Doc talked about how he was at the practice facility yesterday and you were in there running sprints. Can you just talk about that mindset that you and your teammates know that you always have, which is that stay ready mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I always try to handle my business, right? Professionally, I think my best basketball days are still in front of me, and no matter what's happening through the course of an NBA season, I know things can change at different times. So you always got to stay ready. You always got to put yourself in the best position to be ready to perform individually to help the team collectively whenever your number's called. And so, what I have to do to stay in shape, get in better shape, make sure I'm ready at any given moment is part of the job. And I don't look for extra credit for it. I don't look for notoriety for it. I just want to, handle my business and be prepared to get out on the floor as much as I can and have a positive impact while I'm out there.
And then mentally, how do you feel like a game like tonight fuels you individually and then the team collectively?
I think it's just about us continuing to look at areas that we can get better. I know in the 9.5 minutes I was out there, there are areas I can do better. There's areas I'm sure each person individually believes that they can do better, but collectively I think we just got to be better for 48 minutes, and we got to make sure that we learn from things like this. Look, we've been through ups and downs over the last 7 years that I've been here, and I think this is no different. The Brooklyn Nets are a great young basketball team, and they're coached well. They got players that play hard. They got players that are athletic. They got players that are talented. The NBA is full of teams like that, and you can't take any game for granted. And I think we could have been better tonight, but we can't get this game back. We can't get the 3 games that we lost to Brooklyn back. We can't get the last week back where I think we lost 3 out of 4. We just got to learn from it, and we got to try to get better tomorrow in practice. We got to be honest with ourselves about what we can do better individually and collectively, and then we got to be ready for a game on Saturday. And that's the way that the NBA season rolls, and that's the way that if we want to reach our full potential, we got to start making sure that we're getting better each and every single day, and we're not having, some lapses that we had tonight, attention to detail, some discipline, not enough effort, certain areas that I think all of, 1 through 15 would tell you tonight that we could have been better in.
Pat, a team question and then an individual, if I could follow up. Team question, how difficult is it to summon it every night? It's game 33 on a January against a team with a lesser team. How tough is it to do it as a team on a nightly basis?
That's a little bit of a trick question. I don't think we can use that as an excuse ever. We play basketball for a living. We're fortunate to be one of the 450 players in the NBA. It was a dream since we were kids. No matter who you are, it was a dream since we were kids. And to be able to go out there on a nightly basis and do the things that we love, surrounded by a great group of teammates, a great group of coaches within a great organization, and most importantly, supported by a great fan base. It doesn't matter if it's game 1, game 33, game 82. I don't think we can use that as an excuse. I think we owe it to ourselves, we owe it to the fans, we owe it to our teammates, to our coaches, to the people, our families that believe in us. We got to leave it all out there each and every single night, and I think that's something that we pride ourselves on. It doesn't mean it's going to happen each and every single night, but I think the things that we can control, the energy, the effort, are things that it's our job, and we play basketball for a living. We get compensated handsomely to do so. And like I said, whether it's game 33 on a Thursday night against, the Brooklyn Nets, or whether it's game 34 on Saturday night against the Portland Trailblazers, it doesn't matter. I think, we got to represent the names on the front of our jersey and the back of our jersey better.
And then individually, you've always been a very prideful player. How do you hold that pride when you don't have as many opportunities on the court?
I think it's a healthy balance of having a chip on your shoulder and also being realistic with yourselves and trying to get better each and every single day. And I think for me, look, I'm fortunate to be an NBA champion. I'm fortunate to have a big part of that NBA championship. I've had, experiences through the 10 years of my NBA career that have been good and some that have not been so good. And I've learned from the good and the not so good. And I've been to the playoffs each and every single year. And I've been surrounded by great teammates. I think for me, I know what I can bring to the table. I know the things that I do well. I know the areas that I need to continue to get better. But I have confidence that I can help a team win at a very high level, and I enjoy every opportunity that I can when I'm out there, and when I'm not, I try to use it as fuel and motivation to look myself in the mirror and say, how did I get better today even if I wasn't on the floor? How did I run some extra sprints? How did I shoot extra shots? How did I think about how I could have impacted that game if I were out there, and use it as fuel for the fire, but also understand that I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm not going to be a perfect player. I'm not going to make every single shot, but I'm going to leave it all out there, do my best to do that, and represent myself, my family, hopefully the city of Milwaukee to the best of my ability. And like I said, I think my best basketball days are still in front of me.
And even when you're doing all that stuff, working to prepare for your next time on the floor, I imagine it's difficult to simulate an actual game situation. How did you feel getting out there for the first time in a while? Was there any rust, and just how comfortable did you feel out there?
Look, it felt great. Unique circumstance, obviously, with when you're out there. But I thought, the guys that I shared the floor with and myself did a great job of trying to put ourselves in a position to win, being down by a big deficit. And obviously I would have liked to make both of the threes, if not at least one of two of them. They were good looks, and I don't think they felt the most in rhythm. It's a little bit different when you're shooting, 500 shots in a gym. You can get into a rhythm pretty quickly than when you're taking two in a game time situation. But that's the way it goes, and you got to be ready to make those. And it's a make or miss league, and that's an area that I need to improve on, and an area that I could have done better tonight to help my team be in a better position to win.
Taking the final result out of it, looking at these past two games where there was a pretty serious deficit and the team was able to scrap back and bring it in within winning territory, what does that say about the resilience of this team, and how do you take that and push it forward looking toward another championship?
Look, everyone has, their own opinions. I think adversity is inevitable, right? So you're going to have games where you play well for 48 minutes. You're going to have games where you don't play well for, hopefully not 48 minutes, but for a good portion of it, or at least stretches during it. So the resiliency that we have as a team in situations like that are great. Now, I would tell you, when we look at it, I think we look at it a little bit differently in how do we not put ourselves in those situations to start with. So I would say when you look at the last two games, we played with fire against Indiana, and we were able to come back. We played with fire tonight, and we weren't. I don't think we want to play with fire. I think we want to make sure that we look at how we can be better in both of those situations, how we can move the ball more, how we can make sure that on defense we're locked in and we're not having any game plan mistakes. And I think we will all look ourselves in the mirror and look at some film tomorrow collectively to look at areas that we can be better so that we don't end up having to be as resilient as often.
With the bench molding into what it is now throughout the season, and you being the vet on the bench, what are you telling those younger guys and just the bench crew altogether, like you being the vet, like what advice are you giving them throughout the season right now?
I always say you got to be ready when your number's called, and you have to be ready in ways that you may not realize, right? Like, as a bench player in the NBA, you have a role that you have to fill, especially on a great team like ours, right? We got Dame, we got Giannis, we got Chris, we got Brooke, we got Bobby. Like, we got guys who can score the basketball at a high level. When you're a role player, you have to be prepared to do the little things that help impact winning. Doesn't mean you're not going to get an opportunity to make shots. Doesn't mean you're not going to get an opportunity to drive the basketball and make plays for your teammates. But you got to do all the little things, and you got to be a star in your role. And that's not just when you're out there. That's like mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, you have to make sure that the team is more important than you, and that you are ready to do whatever dirty work needs to be done when your number's called. And I always tell guys, like, take advantage of the opportunity. At the end of the day, we are playing basketball for a living. We have an opportunity that when you were a kid, you dream of having. So leave it all out on the floor, right? You're going to miss a shot. No one's gone perfect in their NBA career, right? You're going to miss some shots. You're going to turn the ball over occasionally. You're going to let a guy drive by you. But instead of putting your head down or worrying about making a mistake, get it back by sprinting down the end of the floor and trying to make a defensive play after a turnover, right? We saw Giannis do that tonight. I think he turned the ball over once and he blocked a lob. Like, if a guy who is an MVP and should be the MVP this year is doing that, that's a great lead by example role. That's something that I've seen time and time again from all the leaders that I've been fortunate to play with here in the last 7 years. Like, make sure that you are leaving it out there on the floor, and whether you have a good game by your standards, a good game by the coach's standards, or a bad game by both standards, you have an area that you can improve the next day, and you just had an opportunity that you never really knew if you would have when you were 8 years old playing in the backyard.
Related to that sort of bonding that forms when you're sitting on the bench, not getting the opportunities that you want. How special was that to share the court with Marjon, another guy who's been in that position? Have you guys kind of formed a relationship over the years, especially this year? And then talk about Doc's sticking with you guys down the stretch.
Yeah, look, Marjon's cut from the same cloth, right? He's going to work every single day to try to be better as a basketball player, try to be better as a teammate. And it showed in areas tonight. I don't even, according to the box score, he didn't even take a shot, right? He was a plus 18. He found ways to impact the game in other ways. And I think as a young guy who's got a bright future ahead of him, that's how you sneak onto the floor to start. That's how you get a sniff to start. That's how you earn a coach's trust to start. And then all of a sudden, that can snowball. And it can snowball no matter where you are, right? Like, I started my career in Portland. I was the only guy to play every single game my third year in Portland. And then I got waived. I didn't get a qualifying offer, and I ended up here in Milwaukee, and I found a home here, right? Like, I try to always say that to young guys, like, if you're not getting the opportunity that you want, that doesn't mean that when you get your chance on the floor, no matter what time of game it is, that other coaches, other teams aren't watching, and your own team is watching and taking notice. And how can you be a piece of an organization and then slowly grow into what your individual potential is? And I think that's where Marjon continues to grow. He finds ways to get himself better on a daily basis in the gym, whether it's playing one-on-one as a group or whether it's individual work that he's doing with some of the coaches. He's finding ways to get himself better as a player. And then I think what you're seeing more and more is he's finding ways to impact, even if it's not within the skill set that he has, that he could use and could be a tremendous asset to maybe another team, right? Like, there will be plenty of teams in the NBA that Marjon Beauchamp would be out there having the ball in his hand, scoring the basketball. But I think what he's starting to learn is, on this team with where it is right now, he can find ways to continue to get better for his individual career, but he can also find ways to have a positive impact on our team within the role that he'll be asked for on the Milwaukee Bucks.